in public affairs at the National Peace Corps Association. He's also the former Deputy Assistant Secretary of State. Joel, we just heard from the Kremlin spokesperson. So I first just want to know, can you explain the relevance of him explaining why they won't be treated as prisoners of war?
Ashley, it's great to be with you. And what we're hearing from the Russian spokesperson is quite ironic. Russia is committing war crimes left, right, and center against the Ukrainian people. And now what he is attempting to try to do is use an argument to demonstrate that somehow the war against Russia is unjust, that there are fighters going in that don't deserve fair treatment. Nothing could be further from the truth. What we have right now are Americans supporting Ukraine in its fight against a Russian invasion that is illegal, that is against international law, and that is committing human rights violations. So they're looking for a propaganda tool in any way they can. Unfortunately, these Americans have been killed, as you said, and captured, and unfortunately exposed now to being publicly humiliated, which does go against the Geneva Conventions. But Russia does not seem to really care about that overall in terms of its approach on Ukraine.
Yeah, and I also wanted to ask you about that because you and I have had multiple conversations about how the information we get from Russia is rarely trustworthy. So what did you make of just the tone of his conversation in general? Did he come across as credible, or should we take his information as it is credible?
Yeah, well, I watched the tape of the public interview of the Americans that was published by Russian propaganda state TV, RT. And it reminded me of an ISIS video or of a video of, if we remember, Saddam Hussein many years ago when he invaded Kuwait prior to the Gulf War. He paraded Westerners in front of the cameras to say, look, they're safe here just for propaganda purposes. And that was what came across to me. It was heart-wrenching to see these captured Americans essentially mouthing talking points that they had to say because they're under duress and the Russian government is threatening to kill them and says that it does not have any obligation to follow international norms or rules. So it's very distressing for these individuals and certainly for their families as well.
Yeah. And Joel, who has the final say about what happens to them?
Vladimir Putin. In this case, Vladimir Putin will have the final call. Russia does not have the rule of law in any way, shape, or form that resembles what we do here in the United States. There are no court systems there that act independently. And so Putin will use these individuals as bargaining chips, as propaganda tools, and will keep them around for whenever he feels the need to try to throw them back out into the public sphere to say, look, the West is just doing bad things unjustifiably. Therefore, what I'm doing is justifiable.
Yeah. Now, as I'm sure you saw, U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland made a surprise visit to Ukraine. What does a surprise visit from someone so important, so high-ranking, communicate to you about what role America's trying to play at this point in the war?
So it's intriguing to have the Attorney General out there, and it's just another layer of top-level American government support in our national security apparatus. We have for viewers, to say national security apparatus is a very weird phrase in many ways, but what it means are our Department of State, Department of Defense, Treasury Department, which does sanctions, the Justice Department, which has the FBI, and the intelligence community, and the Homeland Security Department. A lot of departments, a lot of people. And by General Garland going there, it means that the investigatory component of our national security apparatus, the FBI in particular, and certainly the justice system writ large, is getting engaged with Ukraine. There's a lot that Ukraine has to do on its intelligence gathering, on studying cases, Russian violations of Ukrainian human rights, you name it. There's a lot there. So this is helping to build up the Ukrainian government's capacity in that area.
Yeah. Joel, before I let you go, I do want to talk about Britney Griner, who's still detained in Russia. Earlier this week, the Phoenix Mercury tweeted 123 days, bring Britney home. On Wednesday, she was named an honorary WNBA All-Star. Griner also recently tried to call her wife, but Britney's wife said the U.S. Embassy in Moscow failed to connect the call.
I find it unacceptable on our embassy, on all the government personnel that keeps telling me that my wife is a priority. How could she be a priority when in the same breath that you're telling me that you're also not even checking something as simple as the fact that we scheduled a call during a non-business day.
Joel, what do we know about where the government is at this point in trying to get Britney back to the United States?
Well, the number one job of the State Department is to take care of Americans abroad in whatever way, shape, or form those individuals are engaged in the countries where they are. And in this case, for Britney, she is being used as a propaganda tool. She is a victim of miscarriage of justice, and it's horrible what's happening to her and her family. This call not happening. I wish I knew more details, but it's not good. It shouldn't happen. Certainly, the embassy is working 24/7 on this, on engaging her, and to miss a call like this, it's so important. It should not occur and should be rectified. But you can rest assured that this is the number one job of our diplomats when they're posted overseas. This is the thing they most care about, is taking care of American citizens in the countries where they're posted.
Joel Rubin, as always, I want to thank you so much for coming here and giving us your insight. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Ash.
Absolutely. We'll be right back.